Neighbor Network.
If you want to get...
Turn to Turner Security.
Hey, it's Brian, and we've relied on Turner Security for systems here at WGNS and Big G TV for many years. Their advanced security solutions with real-time monitoring and automation keep us safe. Plus, their expert IT service ensures our tech runs smoothly, from networks, computers to troubleshooting. Their to our needs, and I highly recommend them for home or business solutions for you.
Turn to Turner Security.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning, good morning, good morning on WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. This is Bill Krause, and we have a phenomenal group of ladies here this morning, and I think you're going to enjoy it. And I think even before I introduce them and ask each one of them for a background, I'm specifically hitting the topic, women in Rutherford County politics and the political process. And I say that not to genderize this topic, but I will say after many years of teaching, one of the major areas in political science that I work for is to get people involved in the political process. And I have to acknowledge over the years, including at Montlow, that it is a lot harder to get women interested and involved in the political process than men. So I'm hoping part of our discussion is, what have you brought to the table? How successful have you been? What would you do to motivate and encourage young ladies today to say, hey, that's a wonderful world of service? So I'm going to begin with the introductions. Mary Esther Reed, the mayor of Smyrna, a lady who brings great charm and great enthusiasm and great excitement. And great style, absolutely. And we'll hear all about Mary Esther in a moment. And also we have a dear friend and certainly a activist, Councilwoman Jamie Averwater. Aver or Aver?
Aver.
Aver.
But I'll take either one.
Oh.
So you're like me, you answer to anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Averwater.
matter what.
Yeah. Honey, baby. Hey, lady.
You'll even answer late for lunch.
That's right. That's
And she's on the City Council of Murfreesboro. And Madeline Scales Harris. And a name and a person who brings phenomenal history, as does Mary Esther, to this broadcast today. Let's begin at least a little background. Mayor Reed.
First of all, thank you for having us on, and I am so excited to be on with these two ladies because they are just great at what they do, and like you said, it is wonderful to see other ladies in politics, and I so appreciate them. So background on me, I've lived in Smyrna my whole life. My husband Britt has been with the Sheriff's Department for 30 years now.
Wow.
I have one son, Parker. He's 28. Even though he's out of the house, you know, that never changes. That they're still, you still taking care of them. So
Don't tell me that.
it is. It never goes away. Never goes away. I joined the council in 2003.
Oh,
so I've been on for a little while. Got started through the Parks and Recreation Board.
Do you recall what the population was of Smyrna in 2003?
I do not. I cannot
And now
remember.
you're over the 50,000 mark.
Absolutely. We really felt like had we finished the census, we were in the same boat you guys were. We would have been right at about 63,000. But
Wow.
when I was growing up, when Daddy was in politics, we were about 4,500 people. So about the size of our two high schools that we have in Smyrna.
Fantastic.
I mean, you think about that. I mean, the kids that go to Smyrna High School in Stewart's Creek, that was about the size our entire community was. It's hard to
Wow.
believe. I mean,
Wow.
you growing up in Eagleville, you know how that was. So, but became mayor in 2013 and have really enjoyed being in politics. But what I enjoy most is getting to help make decisions about what our community is going to look like long after I'm gone. So it's very fulfilling.
You know what's an interesting thing, and when I ever visit California, I'll visit the cities that I was city manager of, and I'll still see things years ago that we were involved in all the decision-making process, the conflicts, the arguments, and the ultimate solutions. And it's really a joy. It says, we help build something.
Rewarding.
Totally.
Yes.
Personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
All right, Madeline, good to have you. This is your first time with us.
It is.
And it is, I hear so many wonderful things in the history of the Scales family. I'm sure you've heard this all your life, but, you must carry a lot of weight. I'm sorry. You got to excuse me now and then. I'm not you personally, but the weight of the city on your shoulders. Give us a little bit of historic background.
Well, I'm very honored to be on this morning with two great ladies that I've learned from. Jamie a lot, even though she just came on, but I've learned a lot from her. And Mary Esther, I've heard a lot about you. So, and they're just beautiful women spiritually and physically. I've been on the council since 2010.
Oh, another longevity.
Yeah, I'm a legacy.
Okay.
I was drafted
How? Can I ask how?
by God.
Oh,
No, seriously. When my dad went on in 1964.
in
He
a
was the
very bitter time.
He was the first African American in the entire South since Reconstruction.
Really?
Yeah, he was
elected?
even invited to the White House because of that.
Wow.
And I never shall forget the night that he won in April. That night, crosses were burning in our yards and bricks going through our window. And, when I see these movies on TV, I'm like, that's real.
It's real.
In
Absolutely.
fact, so many bricks went through. I don't know if a lot of people remember Jack Winsett with the Jack Glass shop. Daddy had paid for so many windows. He came by one day and he said, T90, I feel embarrassed that you paid some of my people's salary as many windows as I replaced, so I'm going to give them to you free. So, but that's the kind of environment I grew up in as far as politics, and I always said I'll never, ever go in politics. And when Dad would come home from the meetings and talk to Mama about issues, I never shall forget, they always sat at the kitchen table, and I said, why? Why do you do all of this? I said, I will never go in politics, because he went through a lot.
Sure.
A lot.
Oh, absolutely. A
And
trailblazer.
then he had a heart attack. He came home and fell with a heart attack when I believe the issue was that the city voted not to recognize Dr. King's birthday. I think it was some kind of big issue, and he got too upset and he came home and just dropped of a heart attack. So he had 6 blockages when he went into surgery about 2 days later. And then Mom ran for one term, and she went through different things, but it was kind of the same things, not racial, but I'm talking about big issues. And so I said, I'll never go in. I don't know why y'all do this. But 22 years later.
There you are.
Well, one thing about the Lord, he'll slow walk you down. It was something he kept tugging at me. And I said, okay, Lord, whatever it is, make it plain and I'll do it. And when it was the city council, I said, Lord, hold it. Wow. I said, it's a million Madeleines in this world. You have the wrong one. But long story short, I ran and I told Mama about the Lord asking me to run. Telling me to run. And so she said, great, let's get busy. And see, I was hoping she would say, I don't know about that. But
She and the family was enough.
Talk me out of it, Mama,
right.
please.
But it was 3 incumbents running.
Wow.
And I said, Mom, I can't beat those guys. She said, you can, and this is how you do it. You shake 100 hands a day, and you work 26 hours a day, and you'll make it. And I'm like, okay, I know the handshakes, but those days. But long story short, I made it. So, and I've been on, like I said, I think 4 terms.
Wow.
So I'll be 73 next month.
Bless
So,
your heart.
oh yeah, God's good. God's good.
Yes.
And I love working on the city council. I went to Memphis State for 3 years, got homesick, came home and graduated from Middle Tennessee State. I have 1 son, and my grandmother used to say, when you have children, they're on your lap, but as they grow up, they get on your heart. So he's definitely on my heart.
And then they get on your checkbook.
That's right. Forever. Forever.
Right. But he gave me
Jamie, what you have to look forward to. I'm sorry.
He gave me a great, beautiful little granddaughter.
Oh.
She's 8 going on 88. And then I'm expecting another grandchild December 26th.
A day after Christmas.
Yeah, so we're going to have the reveal on the 19th of this month. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh,
But I was glad to see Jamie come on board.
yes.
Another female. She has proven to be very intelligent. She's very vocal, and that's a good thing. And I learned that men think differently than women. I learned that on the council those 10 years I was by myself, that they do think differently, and that's nothing negative.
No.
But men just do. And when I saw Jamie, I said, oh, yes, thank you, Jesus. And, I was just glad to have a female up there. And
I agree. I think women bring a different perspective.
Yes.
Totally.
Not
And
bad,
we're
not but
I want to
different.
get into
Yes.
this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Madeline,
Yeah.
I'm curious. When your dad ran, and you may not remember this, but how did he go about campaigning? Was it door to door? Was it
No, I remember, and Daddy knew a lot of people. We had the funeral home,
Right,
and I think that helped because everybody knew T90,
right.
and I think just his name recognition helped a lot.
Yep,
I know he didn't do any door knocking
yeah,
because he had 6 children, and we would have been knocking too.
yes,
So I know he didn't do that. I don't
Yeah.
remember flyers.
Right.
I remember cards at the election
at
day.
the election where they had to mark them.
Right.
I bet you it
Yeah.
cost a ton of money back then to print stuff.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
Of course,
can't
printing
imagine.
was a little less
Yes,
money,
right.
but still, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
he had those little cards, like your license.
Like a business card.
Yes, yes.
like a business card.
But I think it was word of mouth.
It was so much smaller back then.
Yeah,
Even
I think
Murfreesboro.
I was reading one of Daddy's books, financial report, and I believe we had 17,000 people here or something.
Wow. 3
but it
high
was small.
schools, maybe.
Yes,
4 high
right. That's
schools.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
It'd be
so-
funny to know how much they spent, because I know me personally, I spent almost $45,000 on my last
Yeah, campaign.
city council campaign. That was for city council. I spent much more for state house, but
State.
for city council, I spent almost like $40,000.
I mean,
to
isn't
get
that crazy
elected.
stupid? I mean, just
Yeah,
crazy
it's
stupid.
crazy
You
Crazy
think
stupid.
about if you could give that to a nonprofit or
Oh.
whatever. I mean, think
What
how
could you do?
much that our nonprofits would prosper just from.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah,
You know,
I
before,
run for re-election next
the
year.
little bit I had left, I did give it to nonprofits.
Yes,
Yeah, because I said, well, I won't be running anymore, so I just, each time.
you can. Yes, give it.
And last time was the only time I had a little left. When I say a little, it was a little, but it went a long way.
Right.
Yeah, but
every penny
Daddy,
counted.
That's right.
I can't tell you what he spent. I don't remember any brochures or
Right,
anything,
yeah.
I hope in your autobiography I have your title already. God Drafted Me.
Yeah.
I think would be a phenomenal title
Sure would.
for your book.
Yeah.
I'll help you write it.
God-
I'll type. You talk.
God Drafted Me. No, seriously, I think
Yeah.
that would have. I would love that inspiration for my students. To see
So true.
there's something more. And Jamie, tell us about Jamie.
Oh goodness. Well, thank you again for having me. I always
a
love my
return
time
visit.
here with you.
Yes, ma'am.
I would say you're my favorite to host me. You're also the only one who hosts me, so thank you for that.
That means I'm also the worst.
She has a way with words.
Absolutely.
I am a proud member of the Murfreesboro City Council, along with Miss Madeline Scales Harris. I'm married to a wonderful man who is a financial planner with Edward Jones. I am a real estate attorney here in Murfreesboro, as you three know. I own High Water Title, and we have 17 employees, and we've been in
Wow.
business 5 years, and I'm just so grateful for their support, because without my husband and our wonderful son Bryson, and without their support and my team's support, I would not be able to do all that I do. Because one thing that I would like to talk about with these wonderful women today is how the time commitment and the burden feels a little bit heavy for us women, especially those of us who raised kids and are raising kids actively, who, we strive to be the matriarch of the household and make sure dinner's on the table and the laundry is done. And there are a lot of nights where I come home after an 8 or 9 hour day at work and a 2-hour council meeting, and my son looks at me and says, "What's for dinner?" And sometimes there are tears because I don't know what's for dinner, because I just made a huge decision 5 minutes ago on city council that's going to affect Murfreesboro for the next 30 years, and that's heavy. That's a heavy weight, y'all. And so I just am so thankful for my family's support, that they encourage me and push me, but also that they forgive me and they give me grace, because it is very hard. I missed a great soccer game last night that my husband and my son went to in Nashville because I had planning commission, and it has been an honor of a lifetime to serve on planning commission. That's where I got my start when the mayor appointed me back in 2021 now. So I do love my time on planning commission, but it takes a lot away from our families, and it's not just the meetings themselves. You guys know we meet with
when you're out to dinner and people want to stop and chit chat about what they want to see.
Or I'm watching fireworks on 4th of July and somebody wants to talk about the budget.
Zoning issue.
That's exactly when I'm at the grocery store and my husband and I are accosted by someone in the rural areas that's tired of city expansion. And so it's everywhere, and it's the developer meetings and the phone calls and the constituent emails and the appearances, the ribbon cuttings, all the things that we do as elected officials to serve our community every single day. It goes so much further than just our weekly meetings.
Does that mean every time you step out of the house, you have to have the right makeup?
Absolutely,
right
it does.
The clothing.
In fact,
you dress
you'll get over that. I can tell you.
You can't go.
Hey, sometimes
hard.
I'll go to Walmart. My hair's up, no makeup,
Sunglasses,
nothing. So
you cover it up.
I'm to the point now. I'm
I
moving
try
past
so
that.
hard not to do that, but a few weeks ago, I woke up in the morning and I cleaned out my garage. And if you have a garage, you know that cleaning the garage is hot and it's tiring and you're sweaty and right after
dusty
that,
and
Dusty,
dirty.
that's right.
And I said, well, gosh, once I take a shower, I'm just going to want to go to bed. So I said, let me go to the grocery store first. I'm not going to see anybody. It's 9 a.m. on Sunday at Publix.
You always do.
Yes.
President Sidney McPhee. I saw him looking at ground beef. And I'm like, "Hi, President McPhee," and he's like, "Jamie, I almost didn't recognize you." I'm like, "I know, I look very different." But yes, the time commitment, and you go out in public, like you said. I know your father relates, and your parents are related. You go to a restaurant on a Tuesday night, and half the restaurant, or at least they know you, and so there is this element of being turned on all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you ladies, but my husband and I have found that traveling is one of the best ways for us to recharge together, which is one of the reasons we travel so often, and we're very blessed to get to do that. But we love to just travel because I don't wear makeup the entire time.
Nobody knows you. Yeah, I agree.
Except I will tell you, one time we were at the Colosseum in Rome, and a guy had an MTSU backpack on, and Alan was like, "Oh, let's say hi." I said, No, absolutely not."
We were in the rainforest in Puerto Rico, had not seen people. We were walking down forever, and I'm like, are we the only ones here? And here comes a family up, and the daughter had on an MTSU sweatshirt. It just reminds you how small the world is.
It truly is.
I'm not like my mom now. Even living with this lady, she was always dressed up.
To the T.
To the T, even in the house.
Yeah.
My mom had knee surgery, and the doctor said, "Miss Gales, you're going to have to put on these pants, because you're going to be doing a lot of." She said, "Oh, no." And I told the doctor, I said, as a child, my mama never wore pants. She always had on a dress or a skirt in the house, and if she would see me now sometimes out, she would say, "Oh, my gosh." She was just prim and not me.
Yeah.
One of the more difficult questions, and I don't like to ask this question, but it's very true, but it's very acknowledged, very little. You're all mothers, and you're all daughters, and two of you being within the political process. How do you handle a very, very controversial, very personally nasty issue or campaign protecting your children? You may have a child, 7, 8, 9 years old, and you've become the focal point of the media, the focal point of, I even have to say hate. Not necessarily just racial hate, just hate for you as an elected official. All the hate toward government is focused on you. You can handle it. You've been in it. You've been in it a long time. But you have a child at home. It's his school. and the child specifically has to defend herself or himself.
For
that
me,
like?
So for me, social media was not around when I first started,
Right.
and that has changed everything. But I will tell you that anytime somebody comes to me and says they want to get involved in government, the first thing I say is you have to have your family support. It is not just you who is in politics, because you're right. I mean, I can't tell you the number of nights that Mama put Parker in the bathtub because I was at a meeting because he was still young then. When I ran for mayor and had an opponent my first time, Parker was in high school. It was really, really tough because there were other kids that had on my opponent's T-shirts and shirts. And so it was really a hard time for him. Luckily, social media was not big then, but you still had the flyers. And we had to have a discussion that, not everything everybody says is accurate. And throughout your life, there are going to be people that will say things that aren't very nice, and you have to decide how you're going to respond to that. And so a lot of it was about how we respond and how some things we have to let roll off our back and some things we have to tell them how we feel. But no matter what, even in a disagreement, you still can be respectful.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I really try to do, even when I'm really angry about something, is try to still be respectful. And I think as a nation, that's something that we've lost. We've lost being able to disagree and still walk away. Luckily, on Smyrna Town Council, usually, even when we have disagreeing, even a pretty heated disagreement, we all can walk out and say, you know what, we were thinking about what's best for the town. We may not have agreed how to get there, but we all can walk away still friends, knowing that our main focus is what's best for our community and our constituents.
That's right. That's so true. And, you all know that I went through an unfortunately negative campaign recently. And the hardest part for me was my stepson Bryson was outside playing with his friends in the front yard, and I walked outside and I said something like, Bryson, dinner's ready. And one of his friends goes, aren't you the lady whose face is in my mailbox every day?
Oh.
And I was like, yes, I am. And that's hard because I knew that what he was seeing, that even though the mail was addressed to his parents, he saw that picture of me and those untrue negative things that were said about me. And it broke my heart to think that, people might think those things are true, but children might think those things are true. Bryson, my stepson, might think those things are true. And that was very, very hard on me. And after that election, we had some difficult talks as a family, watching my stepson in tears because of what was being said about me on TV. And I've told you this story before, but my dad, who has served on the planning commission for this county for a very long time and is political adjacent. He enjoys the planning commission, he enjoys public service, but he does not want to be in the nasty part of politics. And so unfortunately, our political climate has kept good people like him from running for office. But he left the state during my election. About 30 days before. He said, I can't do this anymore, Jamie. I turn on the TV, your face is there. I open my mailbox, your face is there. My friends are sending me screenshots saying, is this true about your daughter? Does she really hate XYZ? Does she really support XYZ? And for a father to see their little girl go through that was just so hard for him. And then to, for a stepson to see his, me, who he idolizes me, and I would do anything for him. And it was just so hard to see the effect that it had on other people. And it is things like that that make it really hard to justify running for re-election. But then, like Madeline said, there's this call from God. There's this innate empowerment and like this desire to want to serve our community that I can't explain.
Agreed.
People ask me, they're like, why do you do this to yourself? And I say, I don't know. I really don't know.
When it comes down to it, I love it.
Yeah.
And I bet you all are the same way. There's some bad parts about it.
Yeah.
And I want to
over
talk
the
about
whole-
the love in a moment. We do have to pay the bills.
Oh.
No problem.
wonderful
No. I
supporters.
knew with the three of you here, this is going to... In fact, I'm going to say this publicly to Brian. Next time you file an application for an award, for a state award on the Roundtable, I cannot think of a better one than the Three Musketeers here. We'll be right back, folks.
First shot.
Turn to Turner Security.
Hey, it's Brian, and we've relied on Turner Security for systems here at WGNS and Big GTV for many years. Their advanced security solutions with real-time monitoring and automation keep us safe. Plus, their expert IT service ensures our tech runs smoothly, from networks, computers to troubleshooting. Their team tailors solutions to our needs, and I highly recommend them for home or business solutions for you.
Turn to Turner Security.
Helps. We'll have many more options coming in the next coming weeks with Lance Family Produce. This is Angela Lance with Lance Family Produce. We're at the Rutherford County Farmers Market.
Thank you so much. The Rutherford County Farmers Market is open on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 315 John R. Rice Boulevard in Murfreesboro until October 31st.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by America Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank. Member FDIC.
WGNS encourages you to shop local. This weekend, the Tennessee Youth Baseball Association's state tournament. That's over at Barfield Crescent Park this weekend, and this is for ages 3 to 15. Don't miss the Tennessee Youth Baseball Association's state tournament, all this weekend at Barfield Park. A reminder once again, the Fix-It Fair is this Saturday, 8 until noon, at Greenhouse Ministries. And yes, they do need some volunteers. They'll show you how to make repairs around the home, as well as offering bike repairs. That's this Saturday, 8 until noon, at Greenhouse Ministries. The Parkinson Support Group meets on the first and third Friday of each month at the St. Clair Street Senior Center. And the Red Cross is critically low on blood. Give the gift of life at the Red Cross. Don't throw away old glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS. And let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Occasional sunshine developing today. Areas of showers and a few thunderstorms. We're high in the upper 80s. Heat index value as high as 98. I'm meteorologist Laura Lockwood on News Radio WGNS. Right now, 72.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE Sharing Change has now donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits, assisting worthy causes in our community. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station for MTSU Sports. This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause, returning on the WGNS Radio Roundtable Thursday morning edition with a dynamic trio of elected officials right here in Rutherford County. I have to say they're about the best, not only in the county, I'm going to say statewide. I may even go nationwide.
We agree.
I think we agree. So we have Jamie Ava Water, Councilwoman, Murfreesboro, and Madeline Scales Harris, Councilwoman, Murfreesboro, and the Mayor of Smyrna, Mary Esther Reed.
Mayoress? Mayoress of Smyrna?
Mayoress, there's a good one. Okay. Let's go positive. Although I do have to make a comment. You were commenting off the air about In-N-Out and a planning matter. Are you aware of the In-N-Out history?
I'm not.
Of how they started fast. They started in Baldwin Park, California. A man and woman developed their hamburger stand in 1948. And they built it up in California to one of the most phenomenal success stories in the West Coast. But they never became a stock-owned. They was always family-owned. And the president was the son. The vice president was another son, and the other two officers. And the whole team, they had a policy. They would never fly as a board together. They would split up. So two of them flew the private plane to Fresno for a presentation before the Planning Commission, and the other two went commercial. They went up there. They got done early with their approval process before the Board of Supervisors. And the president said, well, why don't we all come back on the same plane? Well, we have a policy. Well, we'll be okay. And they all hopped on the private plane back to Orange County. And as the plane was arriving at Orange County, it got caught in the backdraft by a commercial plane in front of it. Plane crashed. They all were killed. The board was killed.
Gosh.
The parents had to step in, and they were at that point in their late 70s, early 80s, and they appointed a third brother into the presidency position. He was 1 week on the job and died of a heart attack in the office. So to watch some corporate-wise, as individuals starting out as a mom and pop that many years ago, it's quite a story of In-N-Out. And they're they are a legend in California. I mean, for a reason, I'm not a great fan of their hamburger because it's good, but there are a lot of great hamburgers and cheeseburgers. Right. Let's go positive and talk about not necessarily a mundane point of, what are the positives, what's the inspiration, but talk to the ladies of Rutherford County, whether they're a...
we should have a lunch group named that.
Absolutely,
The ladies of
absolutely.
Rutherford County.
Why get involved? And, you talked about some of the issues and problems, and I know Mayor of Smyrna, Mary Elizabeth, Mary Esther. I know
okay,
so
I'll
many
answer.
Mary Beths and so many
I
Mary
understand.
Elizabeths that you mentioned it earlier, you can come home after a long council meeting. But when you help an individual, a citizen has called you for assistance, and you were able to successfully assist. And I know I used to always answer people with questions or problems, and I'd always start out, I can't guarantee we're going to get the answer that you want to hear. I'm going to try. I'm going to give my very best effort, but I can't guarantee. Bear with me. Tell me about those type of successes, the individual that suddenly has a belief that government can, and will work successfully.
So Madeline was talking about her dad being in politics, and my dad was commissioner of Parks and Recreation and was on the county commission as well. Mm-hmm. When I was little, we did go door to door. We went door to door, and I can remember actually hand painting a sign that said, "Vote for my dad, Kenneth Coon Victory," and I put it in the front yard. And back then, when he would get off work, we'd put our shirts on that said "Re-elect" or "Vote for," and we would go door to door, and Daddy carried a clipboard with him. And I didn't understand then because I was pretty young. You'd either go to the door and knock, and they would not answer, close the door in your face, say yes, kind of move on. Or sometimes they'd tell you something they wanted to see different in the community, and he would write it down. It didn't dawn on me till later in life what a difference you can make in your community, because most of the time when somebody calls you about the neighbor that their grass is too high, or the stop sign that's down, or
the barking dog,
yep. That is the most important thing going on in their life right then, because it's so frustrating, but they don't know what to do. And just being able to get them to the right person or the right spot I call that being a connector. And it is so rewarding to know that hopefully you've made a difference, even if it's a small difference in their day-to-day lives. So
I think so much of it too is people just want to be heard.
Yes.
And as women, I think we're really good listeners. And a lot of what I do, and I'm sure you two feel the same way, I take constituent calls and I just listen and let them air their frustrations and vent. And 60% of the time, it's not even a Murfreesboro issue. It's maybe it's a county issue, or maybe they actually live in Smyrna and they're just confused, you know?
Or a state or federal, because they don't know the difference.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And so I'm all about just being an ear for them. And then, like you said, if I can educate them and we learn together about, hey, Highway 99, that's not a city road. That's not a county road. It's a state road. I can't expand it. I can't control the construction, but I'm just as frustrated as you because I sit in it every day. Right. And so I think a lot of what we bring to the table as women is just someone to help understand and help communicate, and the things we do every day for our families, which is be a helping hand, be an ear, be sometimes the strength of our family. We just bring that to our local government.
Would you say it's the maternal approach to government?
It might
you have
be.
a maternal feeling?
Yeah.
These are all your children. 50,000 and 67,000 in Smyrna, 170,000 in Murfreesboro. You're the maternal leader.
I say being a I taught kindergarten before. That prepared me for being in government.
I understand.
We'll just call you the mama of Smyrna.
Well,
That's
and even not just the politeness. I know you two of you personally, but I know of all three of you. And the one response I've had, and I hear from a lot of people, one response is you return phone calls. You answer people. You know, I'll take care of it. You never hear from the person again. Yeah. And you follow through step by step by step. It's common courtesy. You know, you call a person in a real estate office or a tradesperson, and you expect a call back, and you expect a follow-up, even if they have to say no.
I always have people that are surprised when I pick up the phone and call, and they're like, oh, I didn't expect to hear from you, and I for sure didn't expect a phone call, but I find that a phone call makes the biggest difference if they'll give you their number, even over an email, because we may not end up agreeing, but at least they know where I'm coming from. And even ones that are heated initially, usually we end up on a civil tone. So I think phone calling is a huge part of what we do.
And I think that we serve God by serving our fellow man.
Yes.
So when, I learned that the first time I ran, I just kind of had some background because of my parents being in politics for so long. But signing that application, it's a big responsibility. Yes. I just say, okay, I'm signing, I'm going to run. But you're signing your commitments, you're signing your time, you're signing your energy, and we are just at the mercy of our citizens. I have always said, since I've been grown and lived in the house with two politicians, that politics is just in my DNA.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a part of me, and it's so gratifying when you can help people. And I usually start out when people call me, I'm gonna say after they tell me their problem, I said, well, I don't know if I can help you, but I am trying to feel what you feel, and I'm going to do all I can to make you understand, or if I can help solve your problem. But it's just like the two are saying, we have to let them know that, hey, we care, and we're listening, So I really, it's gratifying to me. I just love, it's in my DNA.
Oh, it is. Well, when you mentioned DNA, and we were talking about this off the air, and I just so love this story with Mary Esther, of Steve Sullivan, who's one of her colleagues on the Smyrna Town Council. When Steve moved to Smyrna in the 8th grade, what was his first introductory to school?
It was me.
And
I
you
went up
came
and
up
introduced myself.
and shook. I don't know if you shook hands and
She
said,
kissed
"Hi,
her.
That's right.
I'm
That's
Mary
right.
Esther. I'm running for office in 20 years." And
But did he vote for you? That's the
he
question.
better have.
I mean, Steve. I had Steve a number of times speaking to classes at Motlow, and he kept telling that story. And he said it must be in Mary Esther's DNA too, as you mentioned there.
But do you know what that reminds? Because I don't remember that story. Do you know what I mean?
But he
don't,
does.
But he does, and that to me is what is so important. We never know what small thing we do
Exactly.
in someone's life is going to be something that they remember forever.
Right.
And it makes me happy to know that I did that. And that hopefully I made people feel included, and that's what we try. I think all of us try to do is make people feel included in our communities and keyed in, and that they are a part of, because that's what makes our community stronger.
So totally. You know, when you mentioned the going door to door, I'm assuming I never can assume anything, but I'm guessing that today when you run for election or you run for re-election, you get the propensity to vote lists, and you determine who actually will take the time, take the involvement, take the effort to vote in a local election. May get 3 lists of the past 3 elections. You go down, you start combining people in a home, so you don't have to knock on 2 houses. There's one house where there's a couple or a child, a couple, and so forth and so on. So when you start getting the numbers down of actually how many people are most likely to vote, it's not running in a city of 160, 170,000 or 67,000. You're getting down to a manageable group. I always love to tell the story when you talked about going to door. I had a mayor once in a city in Southern California. He and his identical twin brother. They were
I wish I had a twin.
Well, for so many years, they were the largest twins in the United States. They were both 6'8", both weighed about 300 pounds, identical.
Wow.
And when Bob was campaigning, Brother Bill went the other side of the street and campaigned, so it was a 2-for-1 deal. And you know, if you had triplets, just think how you could cover the neighborhood.
Well, we were
extraordinarily
talking about
quickly.
the Ridleys. They were identical twins. You
Oh,
couldn't
were
tell
they?
them apart
And
either.
did they campaign together?
I don't
Not that
know
we
if
know
they did. Not that we
of.
know of, but maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Oh, how cool would that be? And you're so right about the data that
Always
we
available.
look at to run for office. I know Mayor Reed and I share the same data company that does her data, the same company does my data, and it's fascinating when they take the entire population and then they rule out the people that haven't voted the last 3 elections. They rule out people that aren't in your political party, and then they rule out people that aren't likely to vote. Then they narrow it down to the smaller pool, and then they tell you what the issues that they care about are. I'm like, this is scary, but also very cool, because I don't have to knock on a million doors anymore.
And they build your universe, but I also wonder, what will AI do with all of that now?
Yes.
You know, I mean, what's it
Totally.
going to be like in 10 years from
Right.
now compared? Because I mean, I think about, you said you started in 2010. Think how it's changed from 2010
Just
to now.
in
Same for
14
me,
years.
2003 to
Well,
now.
Jamie, I'm glad to know that she uses somebody, because everywhere I went, there was Jamie. And I'm like, gosh, what is she
Yeah,
doing?
You
Rose-
have to admit,
That's
you
right.
were so mad because you came up to me. We hadn't really met yet. We just knew each other kind of in passing. And she came up to me on the square during the farmer's market, and she looked at me and she said, "This is my corner." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." And I went to the other corner. I got out of there. I was so scared.
Oh, that's funny.
See,
That
at
was
a
a
certain
joke, and she took it serious.
Jamie, at a certain time, you have to go back that corner and put up a plaque.
That's right.
This is Madeline's
Madeline's
corner.
corner.
Yeah.
Madeline's corner.
Put
That's
up a
right.
bench.
For you.
I'll contribute to the bench.
Yes.
This is
wanted-
Madeline's bench.
I wanted to comment on the family. They were telling about their husband and your son. My son was gone, already gone off to school, so I didn't experience. But he would call constantly. "Are you all right, Mama? How things are going? You know?"
Sure.
"Oh yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Wasn't Grand and Granddaddy fine? You know, you've heard about Grand and Granddad. I'm doing the same thing." So, but it does have a, and not
Sure
only
does.
them, your entire family.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
question. No question.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. A special word from our sponsors.
to Turner Security.
Hey, it's Brian, and we've relied on Turner Security for systems here at WGNS and Big GTV for many years. Their advanced security solutions with real-time monitoring and automation keep us safe. Plus, their expert IT service ensures our tech runs smoothly, from networks, computers to troubleshooting. Their team tailors solutions to our needs, and I highly recommend them for home or business solutions for you.
Turn to Turner Security.
Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back. Third and final segment of the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having an enjoyable and I think highly informative visit with 3 of some of the finest, and I'm not going to say women elected officials, I'm going to say elected officials. And we have with us Madeline Scales Harris from the City Council of Murfreesboro, who brings, it's hard to believe, 15 years on the council. Mm-hmm. That's amazing, and from a family that certainly has huge name recognition. We have the mayor of Smyrna, Mary Esther Reed, who also brings a long time service as mayor and council, etc. And we have the young, vivacious, how's that for a term of a councilwoman?
Vivacious.
Amy Averwater.
Yeah, vivacious Averwater. There you go.
That is so neat. And I hope you're getting the insight of these people. And most importantly, I hope they serve as an inspiration for other people to serve. Not necessarily running against them in upcoming elections. Right. No, I'm not promoting that. But I'm saying get involved in how can a person who may be living in Smyrna or be living in Murfreesboro, how can they put the little toe in the water and step forth to get involved in their public life?
Jamie, I think you. Oh, go ahead, Madeline.
No.
I was going to say, you said it and I said it. We both got involved by getting on a board first,
and there are so many boards and commissions.
Opportunities.
Some of them have vacancies
Absolutely.
that we can't fill.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to get involved, do you run it through the mayor's office as well?
We do. Yeah, we do it through the city council, and we elect a board. We appoint board members once a year in March. I don't know when y'all.
We do it as there's a vacancy.
Okay.
So if you have an interest and you live in Smyrna or Murfreesboro or really just Rutherford County, the county has boards and commissions as well. You just reach out to the mayor's office and they'll send you the application. It's a great way to get involved. There's everything from the
Parks
beer
and Rec.
board, Parks and Rec.
What does a beer board do?
You do not get to go sample.
Oh, I was going to say, we didn't have that in California.
Basically just beer licenses and enforcing beer regulations.
And you bear it all.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
right.
hard job.
And I tell people just go on and put in an application now. And when the vacancy comes, we can look to see, has anyone applied for the library board or planning
Well, you know what
commission?
else it does? I serve on the tree board in Brentwood.
There you go.
And the bark is worse than the bite. Sorry about that. But, it isn't just a fact of serving. You start meeting new friends.
Right.
And having relationships and associations with other people in the same zip code or same community.
Yes. And you learn so much.
Oh, you do.
I started out, actually, what's funny, before Planning Commission, the mayor, when I was still in law school, put me on what then was called the Urban and Environmental Commission. And I remember my first meeting, our number one issue on that commission was that these beavers kept building dams in the Stones River. And I was like, is this really a meeting about some beavers? But it was, because it was an issue. The beaver would build the dam and then the water. And so we kept having to tear down the dams. And so I actually got started in law school. That board was eventually consolidated with the Parks and Recreation Department. But the boards, you may have 2 meetings a year, or you could be on a board that has 2 meetings a month, like Planning Commission. So depending on your time commitment, you can really...
We've really worked on advertising our boards and getting involved to the point now that almost all of our boards they can serve 2-3-year terms. We've had to put, if you're not at meetings, sometimes you have people that want to be involved, but then they find out they don't have the time available, and so we have to replace them. But we are to the point now that we have lots of applications for it is we're really excited about it.
That is great. We have an opening on our library board right now, and I think we've only received a couple of applications.
Really?
And the library board is the library is such
you served with Steve on the library board, so
I started off on the disciplinary committee board.
Okay.
How did you get on that, Madeline? How did you get...
I just got a call and asked would I like to serve.
I don't know if that's motivating. I'm saying.
So I served on that, and then Shane put me on the Parks and Rec, and then I was on the library board. So, and another thing, if you're not a board person, you don't say, well, I don't really want to serve on the board. Look around like the Red Cross or some of these habitat.
United Way, Greenhouse Ministries.
And I tell people, I said, join that. See if you can get on something like that. Yeah. The main thing is visibility and recognition. People... They don't, even when they go to vote, I hear people say, I have no idea who to vote. They look at name recognition. That helps a lot of people. But, just let it be known. And you can always, like I did, not really realizing I did it, you can shadow someone. And I did that with my mom and dad in the house with me, because never wanting to be in politics, but I learned the mindset of a politician. And I saw different things they went through. That was firsthand. That's nothing that someone told me. And I think in my career, that has helped me more than anything, because when things come up, I actually say, okay, Mama, what would you do? Daddy, what would you do? And believe it or not, I get energy, the same door that my mother opened to go in the council chamber.
Wow.
They still have that same doorknob.
Wow.
And sometimes when I'm stressed out or feel like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to vote on this, I put my hand on that doorknob and I just feel a peace.
Spiritual. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I asked each mayor to let me sit where my mom sat.
Oh.
And I'm sitting where she sat. So
is that why you sit there?
Yeah.
Good for you. I did not know that.
It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Gotta write that book.
I know.
Gotta do the
God
autobiography.
drafted me. I'll start typing.
Oh, God drafted me. That is so fantastic. Well, this is, I wish, I don't know if you have a guest coming on your next hour. Well, you have executive session
Yes.
for the city of Murfreesboro. I did ask Mayor Carr when he was on a couple of weeks ago, is there a reason why the county and the cities couldn't have gone in together on a census, special census? And would it have been an easier way to do it countywide with individual census being applied to the respective cities? And you weren't too sure what the answer was on that one, but I would hope that the relationships and the consolidations between all public agencies. Just before we leave, give a big shout out to your staffs. I think the staffs of both cities, and I'm saying this as a former manager, and any time, every time, and all times that I encounter, whether it's public safety, public works, general government of any of the two cities, you have a wonderful group of men and women.
We, my team is who makes me look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They are the front line to our community day in and day out.
Right.
And they have a heart for public service. And so it just makes me feel proud to be part of the Town of Smyrna team.
Yes.
I love being able to trust them. And there are so many things that, they're looking to us because we need to vote on it, but I'm looking to them because they're so much smarter than me. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a water quality expert. And I'm just like, so you good? Like, if you're good, cool, I'm good,
Right.
because I'm a real estate lawyer. And at the end of the day, there's a lot I don't know. But I love that they're willing to teach me and they're willing to share their experience with me. And, we're so blessed. I know you have an amazing city manager. Both of us have relatively new city managers, town manager and city manager.
You know, Darren's a Smyrna boy, right?
I know. I love Darren.
Their city manager grew up in Smyrna.
I did not
We were in
realize
high school together.
Oh, wow.
Yes, another one.
Another one. That's right.
But Darren he is such an asset to the city of Murfreesboro, and I just don't know if everyone realizes how lucky we are to have him. Erin Tucker is essentially serving as the CFO of the city, and that is a woman who is good with numbers, and it is because of her that all of our employees were able to get the raises that they needed to help keep up with inflation. Our public service people are being paid more than ever before in our city for fire and safety and police. She's making sure that we didn't have to raise taxes this year. She is an absolute asset to our city. And so without her and Darren and all the wonderful people that work under them, I wouldn't get to be here today.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they like you said, Mary Esther, they make us look good.
They do.
Yeah, and my dad used to always say the smartest person in the world is not the one who knows everything, it's the one who knows everybody.
That's exactly right.
And the one who wants to know the answers.
That's right.
Right. So I'm like Jamie, I could not do anything without the city employees. They're the backbone. But what kind of makes me a little nervous when these great people are beginning to retire.
Yes.
Who shadowed them? I mean, what is our city going to look like 5 years from now without this person, without that person?
Not there's a new generation.
That's right. Yeah, and they think different. And that's a good thing.
That's how we feel when you talk about retiring. Now you know how we feel.
You got to stay. You're a young lady. You got to stay.
Okay, we're getting ready to go to commercial.
We're going to adjournment, believe it or not. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
We get that all the time.
That's right. Thank you for having us.
Our
thank
pleasure.
you so much.
I hope that, actually, I'm thinking out loud. I hope the three of you, next few months, if I ask you back, we've got other things to chit and chat about.
It has been a fast hour.
Oh, it always is.
I couldn't believe it.
I know.
Goes a Zoom.
It does.
The best of luck to your both cities. And one more shout out to your colleagues on the council.
Oh, yes.
You may agree, disagree on different things, but they're in it with you. You're in it with them.
That's right.
And shout out to them all. Thank you very much. And we will see you all next week, folks.